Just because you have the title doesn't mean you have authority. And just because you don't have a title doesn't mean you lack power. In this episode of the Remarkable Edge show, I'm confronting the unspoken rules of leadership, the ones that tell high achievers to wait their turn, shrink themselves, or seek validation before making bold moves. It's time to lead without permission or waiting for permission, and it's time to tap into internal authority and use it to drive transformation in spaces that weren't designed for your boldness. Whether you're a rising executive, a seasoned leader, or a disruptor in waiting, this episode will unlock something for you. I'm also breaking down the Leadership Intelligence Index that it's not just an assessment. It is a mirror, a blueprint, and a conversation starter for your future leadership. So let's tune in. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Remarkable Edge Live Series show, the Executive Power Series. I'm Dr. Vernita Glenn-White. I go by Dr. V, the Brilliance Solutionist and Master Recalibration Strategist for brilliance, authority, and precision. I'm an executive advisor and leadership intelligence architect for high-stakes organizations. I don't just coach or consult, I systemize transformation. So from education systems to enterprise teams, I spent 20 plus years, yes, helping leaders close the execution gap and build intelligent ecosystems at scale. This show is where bold execution meets intelligent design, where elite professionals come to rethink leadership, realign performance, and build organizations that actually work. So if you're done playing by outdated rules and ready to architect results that drive revenue, retention, and real influence, let's get to work. So I have a question for you. What if I told you that your title, your organization chart, or your corner office doesn't determine your power? And I know a lot of us are in the virtual space, so we're talking about virtual corner offices as well. But the real question is, do you know how to lead, disrupt, and drive value without waiting for permission? Now, you might not be thinking that you're waiting for permission, but as we go through this episode, I want you to comment down below, and if you're listening or watching the replay, I still want you to tune in and tap into your thoughts if you've had aha moments. So today we're not just talking leadership, we are flipping it. We're rewriting the rules for those of you who are done performing to prove and you're done performing to prove that you are ready and that you're ready to lead from a space of personal power. And yes, if you have not taken the Leadership Intelligence Index, this is your moment. It's not just a personality test. It's not one of those things that you can just say, oh, I scored this. All right, that's it, moving on. But it is a clarity catalyst and is a bold conversation starter for executives, high performers, and emerging thought leaders. You will want that insight as we move forward, dig into this conversation, and if you are ready to take next steps, whether that's with me or someone else, but at least you have a you are here type of starting position. So you don't want to go to anything without knowing where you're starting. You want to have some kind of foundation so that you can drive a conversation with purpose. So let's talk about the myth of earned power. We've been sold a lie, and a lot of us have bought it, that you earn leadership one rung at a time, or one task at a time, or one approval at a time. But the truth is, titles are given and power is cultivated. So the highest performing professionals I advise already have ideas that could shift company cultures, improve performance, and innovate products. But guess what? They hesitate. They hesitate all the time. Some of the most brilliant people in the world, and they still hesitate. Not because they're incapable, and this goes for you. It's not because you're incapable, but because they have internalized the belief that it's not yet their turn. How many of you resonate with that? You have all these ideas, but you're like, you know what? Not yet. I'm just going to wait my turn. But guess what happens? And it's a cost to that. It causes your business to stagnate. Your potential gets lost in translation, and bold thinkers stay silent, and a lot of them often leave because they think they're not wanted when in reality they haven't spoken up. So this episode is your reminder and your permission slip to lead beyond your limits. So I'm not giving you permission. I am telling you to tap into the permission that you already have, especially if you're already in certain spaces. So you're probably hesitating because even though you are brilliant and capable, you're probably still misunderstanding how power operates. You have to understand that power isn't about dominance. It is about direction. So let me say that again. Power isn't about dominance. It's about direction. It's the ability to set a vision, influence minds, and move people toward meaningful results. Whether or not your name is on the door, or you are at the head of the company. It doesn't matter. If you've been given a task and you can lead people to vision, influence, and towards meaningful results, you have that type of power, and be sure to use it for good. But leaders who wait for a quote unquote official promotion often miss their moment. And companies that only reward positional leadership, well, they miss their next generation of visionaries. So, those of you who are at the top, this is also for you, because you are overlooking your top talent and the potential to move your company forward, and a way for you to step aside and only focus on your highest value activities. And if you've been waiting for someone to tap you on the shoulders, then this episode is your tap. Hello, tap, tap. You feel it on your shoulder. It is time for you to get realigned to the power that you already have. So here's the executive truth. Bold action is the brand. The most remarkable executives I work with aren't flashy, but they are intentional. They don't need to be the loudest voice, but when they speak, the room leans in. And that's the type of influence you want to have. They don't wait for clarity to strike, they create it. And I want to say this: clarity can be an idol. Clarity can be something that keeps you stuck. So if you're out here saying, like, oh, I just need clarity, I need clarity. No, you don't. You need to create that clarity and take action. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about you move into a way that's chaotic and you have no idea. You take the necessary steps and the precautions that you need to. But at some point, you just need to go ahead and strike and go ahead and create what you've been looking for. And every one of the leaders that I've worked with, they started activating their leadership identity long before the promotion came. And that is what I'm seeing a lot happen. I'm not seeing that a lot that's happening in this space, whether you're in your career path or entrepreneurship or business or anything like that. You're trying to wait till you get to a certain place before you adopt that identity. You have to do that deep identity work long before you get to the next steps. And then a lot of people who skip that, and they get the promotion, they get the revenue, they get the titles, all of those things, they end up crashing down, and they want to blame it on burnout, which that's another topic for another day, when in fact they haven't stepped into the identity of the person and all of those characteristics traits before they got there. So I don't want you to make that mistake. And if you're sitting in a mid-level role, but think like a C-suite strategist, you're not delusional, you are early. So let's break that down. You get to operate in the seat that you want to go in right now. You do not have to wait. So if you have an idea, if you know how something can work better, if you've done some work on the side, some studying on the side, and you want to bring in innovative thinking, go ahead and speak up, because by the time you get that promotion, guess what? It's already too late. So you might as well take your chances now and go ahead and step into it, and be that type of strategist or leader or advisor you want to be right now. But I want you to understand that just because you think that you're early, it doesn't mean that you stay silent. And if a lot of people tap into their divine giftings, whether they're working for themselves or for someone else, I believe that we'll see greater results and greater synergy, because you're not waiting for that permission to speak up. So if you want to know where your leadership is under leveraged or misunderstood, be sure to take the Leadership Intelligence Index, and it will show you your style. It will reveal how to lead with unapologetic clarity, even in unclear environments. So there will be 5 different areas that you'll answer questions. It's only 10 questions, so this is not a deep dive assessment. It's just a mirror and a conversation starter. Again, whether you choose to continue working with me to have a conversation, or if you take that knowledge to someone that you're currently working with, at least you'll understand where your leadership style is showing up in 5 areas. So like I said, it's a conversation starter that opens doors. It reframes your values, and it positions you for more than just a promotion, but influence. So take the LII today and start the conversation that shifts your trajectory. So as we conclude today, I want you to understand that the illusion that leadership is something given to you is outdated, and we have to remove ourselves from those outdated models. Now, don't get me wrong. I love things that are set in tradition, because sometimes tradition works. There's a reason why there are tried and true methods that you continue to live by and operate. But then there are times when things are outdated or need to be recalibrated. So you have to be a true leader understands when it's time to stick to tried and true methods, when it's time to update it, when it's time to throw things out, and when it's time to recalibrate. And so leadership is who you choose to be. It is internal work. I don't care how many strategists come in, advisors, coaches, or consultants. If they're not tapping into the inner work, you're always going to lag the outer results that you are seeking. And so you have to understand is who you choose to be, even when no one gives you the mic. You create your own stage in certain ways. And yes, you can do that even within a company. And you don't need permission to be powerful. Now, this isn't we're gonna overthrow, the leaders, the top people. Yes, there is a hierarchy, but it is a way to move, with your power without the position titles or degrees, because it is about inner work. You need to understand that you need presence, precision, and the right kind of partnership. So let's keep this conversation going. You can connect with me here or comment down below, and be sure to subscribe to the show. Make sure we turn this monologue into a dialogue, and I would love to hear your thoughts about what do you think that's been holding you back from speaking up. Even if you own your own company, there's still something that you want to do. Maybe you have to answer to a board of directors, or if you are your own company, maybe you're listening to clients that they've been tried and true and they've been loyal, but they're no longer serving you for your next vision. What's been holding you back? I would love to hear what you are thinking, and maybe potentially walk you through how to tap into your true power and move forward. So again, let's keep this conversation going, and until next time, be sure to lead boldly and stay remarkable. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.